Today is the 31st of July, the day where Michael Ballweg was acquitted, and after 9 months of remand in custody, a dog mat remained. Yes, exactly, a dog mat, which was falsely labeled as company expense, value 19.53 euros. I have the opportunity spontaneously to talk to Mr. Leland Lehrman from the United States, which is the executive director of the MACHA Action, which is the short form for Make America Healthy Again, which was started originally by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. What was the motivation to come from where? USA exactly?
New York.
New York.
Well, we've been following Michael Ballweg since he organized the Berlin rally where Bobby Kennedy spoke for, I don't know, 500,000, 1 million people on the subject of health freedom, which we were fighting for both in the United States and Germany at the same time. So we know of his work as an organizer, and we're here to support him. And we're very happy that he has won his case finally.
And what does health freedom have to do with the criminal prosecution brought up against Michael Ballweg?
There was a political persecution based on the fact that he was pointing out that it was important for people to be able to make their own choices when it came to health. And also that people have the right to protest if their government is making bad decisions.
And what convinced you that these are political proceedings?
Because in the United States of America, like most parts of the world, when they were talking to us about the problem, they were recommending only one solution, vaccination. And we knew that other things were working better. And we knew that vaccinations had side effects. And we knew that people were already getting injured from regular vaccinations. And we knew that these were untested vaccinations. And we knew that they were a new platform. And we knew that the new platform, mRNA, was also very toxic. And when people started getting hurt, we heard about it right away. And so we were talking about it because in the United States of America, the citizens are in charge. And if we don't say anything, nothing will change.
Does the health policy in the United States switch to the opposite in the direction of health freedom now that Robert F. Kennedy is in charge? And what kind of measures he and you both are implementing?
Well, I help the secretary on the outside, which means that he is on the inside of the government and we are still on the outside of the government. But we bring lots of people to the political process and to the conversation so that the political world knows that it's depending on what they do, we will either vote for them or we will not vote for them. And the specific things that we're doing are focused on making the vaccine schedule safe, making the vaccine schedule optional, and in particular, when it comes to the COVID vaccine, making it so that it's not recommended unless you have a specific condition and your doctor thinks so. I still think that that's wrong. I don't think that they should be recommended for anybody. I don't even think that it should be allowed for them to be sold on the marketplace. They're that dangerous. But we have to work within a political system. We won, but the president is in charge and not the secretary. And we also have to deal with the lawyers, and they have their ways of making things difficult to change. We have to move slowly within the law.
Let's get back to the proceedings against Michael Ballweg. You said that you are convinced that this persecution is political, but the corona crisis has been over since 2 years already now. Are you still convinced that this has something to do with the vaccine policy during the corona crisis?
Yes, of course. Political persecutions exist in order to silence dissent and to make it so that people are afraid to talk about injuries that they experience. They're afraid to talk about injustices that they suffer. A state can only convince a free people to agree with bad decisions by force. And so what we call this in the United States of America is lawfare. In other words, it's warfare through the courts.
In this case, we have seen a judge acting very straight and precisely. Do you think this kind of acquittal can be a blueprint or a positive signal for future proceedings against other people who are criticizing the government? That this acquittal can have a positive effect?
Yes, there's no question about it. This is a super day for everybody that cares about health and cares about freedom and their ability to make their own choices in life with respect to what they think will make them healthy and happy. And I think while the court felt the need to save face, they didn't want to apologize for having dragged an innocent man who had made a very important political statement through the mud. They also recognized that to try to convict him was going to create even more political problems than they already have.
Are similar criminal proceedings like those of Dr. Reiner Fuellmich or Michael Ballweg being brought against critics of the system in the United States? Are there still many critics standing in front of the court, and are they experiencing repressions?
Yeah, we do, except for right now, their court cases are all getting thrown out, especially if they are court cases that were brought by the federal government. In fact, there was a doctor who was tried because he was saying that he was giving vaccines, but actually he was just injecting salt water or a saline solution and then giving people proof of vaccination or giving them their vaccine passports or whatever. We don't even have vaccine passports anymore. We got rid of those in America too. But even today, even after all that we've learned, even after President Trump has won, this court case was still moving. But then everybody made a big noise. We said, this is crazy. We know that this is unjust. And the president and his attorney general said, throw the case out. So yes, we still have some of those cases. Most of the cases are getting thrown out.
Were these cases you mentioned likewise labeled as tax evasion, fraud or embezzlement, or they get an appropriate label?
No, this one was characterized under medical malpractice because it was a doctor who was involved.
Yes, actually in Germany it's the same. Either they call it mass trial or alleged medical corruption, and in other cases the courts must be more creative, obviously. So what are your prospects for the future development in Germany?
Well, I'll say a couple of things on that. First off, in the United States of America, we have a strong tradition of self-governance. And without it, we would have been in big trouble. And to the extent that in your country, your people are willing to take matters into their own hands and decide their own fate by directly engaging with their government, running for office, standing for the Bundestag, running for a mayor, whatever it is, whatever you can do, that's important because it's difficult for them to ignore these issues when it becomes an important part of a political campaign. Then they have to write about it every day. And we saw that with the Kennedy campaign. It was impossible for Bobby Kennedy to get any of the things that he wanted to say onto television or into the newspaper until he ran for president. And then they had to cover it every single day.
At the moment, we have in Germany lots of discussions about a very specific software which is used by the government. Palantir is the name. And this Palantir software is able to scan and evaluate heaps of data with the help of artificial intelligence. What do you think about this technology?
I feel like military intelligence contractors should stay in their lane. And if they want to work on healthcare, they should, if the technology is valuable, they should license it to a real healthcare company that's not focused also on military intelligence and targeting drone assassination programs. We think it's two different skill sets, and we don't really want Palantir involved in our healthcare system. We have the same problem.
Okay, but we copied your problem in the end because it's as American software and it's already used in Baden-Württemberg, here example.
Yeah, I saw the news.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was looking at a newspaper in Germany and there was Palantir again on the front pages. here in Germany. I had no idea. But, you know, listen, when it comes to the digital problem, we don't know all the solutions. But in the end, it's a human issue like anything else. We're going to have to watch and see what they do. And if they do things that are wrong, we're going to have to stop them. We're going to have to forbid the use of Palantir in government healthcare systems at some point. And maybe we give them a chance and see if they're willing to be helpful. But the minute we find them doing the wrong thing, we have to call them on it and we have to stop it. So we know that it's a problem. I think that that's conclusive. And we want to hear if they do something wrong here in Germany, and we'll do what we can to stop it there too. But we've noticed that Palantir is very close even to the current president. So there's only so much that we can do. I've been fighting against the Palantir model of healthcare, and I will continue to fight against it. But if the president wants to work with them, I'm going to have to figure out how to deal with it. I won't be able to change that until we change the president.
Okay, from your point of view, are the United States a good role model for this development you just characterized?
So we struggle to rein in our military in the United States of America, and we struggle also with too much technology and too much of artificial intelligence and other things. So the United States, not the role model in every way, but when it comes to deciding whether or not you can choose your own health care, yes, we think we're doing better than any other country in the world on that particular issue. Some of the smaller countries, it's still not so much of an issue. But many of the developed world countries still labor under the idea that their government should be able to tell them what they can and can't do when it comes to making their own healthcare decisions. And in the United States of America, we've settled that question. So I think that if German people are as committed to their country as the people of the United States are, you will find the same thing will happen and you will win soon.
Thank you, Mr. Lehrman, for this interview and
It's
your
great to meet
advices.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.